And now a highlight from Animal Radio on iHeartRadio.
I would absolutely love to talk to my cat, have a conversation with my cat. I mean, currently we meow back and forth to each other.
Yeah, you do have conversations, but nobody understands what the other one is saying.
I don't know what they're thinking, and they certainly probably may be thinking that I'm a crazy guy who's talking.
Well, then maybe they do know what you're saying.
Who knows? Who knows? But the pet translator may not be so far off into the future, and that's according to Dr. Slobodchikoff, who's joining us again. How are you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. So what is this deal about the pet translators? Is this something that we really will see in our lifetime?
Yes, I think that we'll see it in probably about 5 years or so.
Really?
Wow.
And how accurate will it be? Because I know you can get novelty items right now, but they're just for game and fun and games.
Sure. Well, we're using science to do this. And so it should be really accurate. It should tell you what the dog is thinking, what the dog's emotions are like, what the dog wants to do. So it will be quite accurate.
I need to know more about the science behind this because I'm a little bit skeptical. I have a hard time telling what my wife wants, and the communication between my wife and I understand between generally men and women in general can get a little foggy. We can't really understand each other. How is it going to be possible that we really get a grasp of what our animals are saying?
Well, let me start with men and women.
Okay.
We know that body language is a big component of people understanding what other people are saying. And in fact, some studies have shown that in a conversation between two people, 90% of the meaning is conveyed by body language and only about 10% is conveyed by what they say.
Wow.
So if the man says something like, I love you, and the body language says something like, oh, I really hate to be here right now. What do you think the other person is going to pick up on? The I love you or I really hate to be here right now? They'll pick up on the I hate to be here right now. Maybe not necessarily consciously, but they'll think, this person doesn't mean I love you. Yes. So body language is a really big component of communication in people, and it turns out to be a big component in communication in animals as well. And so what we're going to be looking at is both the body language of dogs and the vocalizations of dogs, and then using artificial intelligence to combine those two to come up with an accurate reading of what the dog is trying to communicate.
Dr. Debbie, you look stunned.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds fabulous and it sounds wonderful, but I'm just thinking of all those variables, dogs that, have something medically going on, and are they going to actually be speaking what's going on? Because do they understand what's going on? Can they describe pain? Can they describe my abdomen hurts versus, what a person could, conceptualize and put into words?
Well, actually, there's a very recent study using artificial intelligence that shows you can use artificial intelligence to figure out sheep's pain from their facial expressions. And the other thing is that there's a person who has been teaching dogs to communicate by pointing to various parts of their body that hurt. And she has found really remarkable success by, when she's taught the dogs this kind of pointing language, that the dogs can actually point to areas that hurt. And when she takes them to the vet says, yep, sure enough, that's a problem with the pancreas, or something along those lines. So we know that dogs can actually do that, and we know that artificial intelligence can actually read things like pain signals and other kinds of expressions.
Do you think it'll be harder to communicate with cats?
Well, no. Cats also have a rich body language, and they also have vocalizations. One study found that cats had somewhere over 120 different kinds of vocalizations. So I think that it would be just as feasible to do that with cats. Now, do you really want to know what your cat is thinking?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Good point.
Now, if this is a translator that helps me understand what they're trying to communicate, will they be is there like a reverse translator so they can understand what I'm trying to communicate to them?
Well, that would be the ideal, and that's a slightly harder problem than the one-way sort of thing. But it may not be as much of a problem as I currently think it is, because a lot of dogs actually understand what you're saying to them. For example, there's a dog called Chaser, which knows upwards of about 1,000 words in English. There's a dog called Rico who knows upwards of 300 words in German. Wow. So dogs actually know a lot of what we're saying to them. And we people are really bad at figuring out what dogs are trying to say to us.
So when it comes back to us, it's going to say, I know what you said. Quit saying it over and over again. I already understand you. You don't need to keep repeating yourself.
That's right.
Well, this is intriguing. I sure hope, I wouldn't be surprised. I never thought I'd live in an age where you have the iPad tablets or the watches that you talk into like Dick Tracy or any of that kind of stuff. So to have a pet translator, okay, maybe it could happen, and we'll certainly see. Hopefully you are right. Dr. Slobodchikoff, thank you so much for joining us today.
Can I just mention one thing?
Absolutely.
Can I mention that if people want to find out more about this, they can go to my website called zoolingua.com, which is the website for my company, Zoolingua, which is working on this pet translator.
Awesome. And we'll put links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.